The Zodiac Killer was never caught. His identity remains one of the greatest mysteries in criminal history, but his reign of terror didn't just end with a cold case file. It left a lasting scar, fundamentally changing how crimes are investigated and how we, the public, perceive fear and the media. His story is more than just a chilling tale. It's a critical lesson in justice, failure, and the enduring power of a myth. Decades have passed since the Zodiac's last confirmed letter, but the case is anything but closed. For law enforcement, it remains an open wound, a constant reminder of a phantom they could never grasp. Over the years, countless detectives have pored over the same files, hoping to see something their predecessors missed. Evidence has been meticulously re-examined with each new technological leap. DNA analysis, which didn't exist during the killer's spree, has been applied to the few samples left behind on stamps and envelopes. Advanced code-breaking software has been thrown at his unsolved ciphers. Yet, despite all this effort, every lead has turned into a dead end. Every promising suspect has been cleared. The case file grows thicker, but the final chapter remains unwritten, leaving a void of uncertainty that has haunted generations of investigators. The frustrating and public failures of the Zodiac investigation sent shockwaves to the world of law enforcement. At the time, police departments often operated in silos. Information wasn't shared effectively between different cities and counties. Even when it was clear a serial offender was crossing jurisdictions, the Zodiac case was a brutal lesson in the dangers of this fragmentation. It forced agencies to rethink their entire approach. The result was a push for improved interagency communication and the creation of centralized databases. Furthermore, the killer's taunting letters and unpredictable behavior highlighted the need to understand the psychology behind the crimes. This gave a massive boost to the field of behavioral analysis and criminal profiling, which was still in its infancy. The Zodiac case, in its failure, ironically helped forge the very tools of modern criminal investigation that are standard practice today. Long before the internet and social media, the Zodiac Killer instinctively understood how to manipulate the press and create a public spectacle. He wasn't just a murderer, he was a media strategist. Through his cryptic letters, ciphers, and demands to be featured on the front page, he turned the investigation into a terrifying public game. He bypassed the police and spoke directly to the public, sowing seeds of fear and paranoia across Northern California. He created a myth, a boogeyman, that was larger than life. As the years went by, this myth was amplified by books, documentaries, and movies, sometimes blurring the line between fact and fiction. This raises a crucial and uncomfortable question that we still grapple with today. By giving these figures so much attention, are we inadvertently feeding their desire for notoriety and creating the very monsters we fear? While the killer's persona grew into a dark cultural icon, the real human costs of his crimes began to fade from public memory. We remember the ciphers, the costume, the name Zodiac. But what about the victims? David Faraday, Betty Lou Jensen, Darlene Ferrin, Cecilia Shepard, and Paul Stein. They were real people with families, dreams, and futures that were violently stolen. Their loved ones were left in a state of perpetual limbo, denied the closure of knowing who was responsible and why. The communities he terrorized lived under a cloud of fear for years, wondering if the man next door could be the killer. The Zodiac's quest for infamy was paid for with immeasurable pain and suffering, a stark reminder that behind every sensational true crime story there are real, shattered lives. So why, after all this time, does the Zodiac case still captivate us? It's not just because it's an unsolved puzzle. It's because this case serves as a powerful case study. It reveals how our institutions, law enforcement, the media, and the public react under the pressure of extreme fear. It starkly illustrates the limits of even the most advanced technology when faced with a cunning and careful criminal. It is a textbook example of how fragmented investigations can allow a killer to slip through the cracks. And most importantly, it shows how a criminal can weaponize media attention to build a terrifying legacy. These aren't just historical footnotes. They are vital lessons that remain deeply relevant in our modern, hyper-connected world, where information and misinformation spread faster than ever. In his letters, the Zodiac Killer desperately sought recognition. He wanted his name and his actions to be remembered long after he was gone. He craved a legacy built on fear. But history doesn't just belong to the villains. It also belongs to the victims whose lives were cut short. It belongs to the tireless investigators who never gave up. And it belongs to the hard-won lessons learned from failure, lessons that have made us stronger and smarter in the pursuit of justice. The killer wanted to be the hero of his own dark story, but in the end, his true legacy is the progress he inadvertently inspired. The Zodiac Killer was never identified. The case officially remains open, a silent testament to a mystery that has endured for over half a century. But its impact is undeniable. It reshaped the landscape of criminal investigation, changed the relationship between the media and crime, and continues to inform how justice is pursued in the modern era. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the Zodiac case. If you found this series informative, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more content.